Welcome to part 7 of the series trying to locate the sons of Noah and where they really went to. Now in this video we're going to be looking at Lud, son of Shem. This is an image of the oracle, okay, the priestess of Delphi. So we'll explain why we got this image of this oracle. But in this video we're looking at Lud, son of Shem, and Shem the son of Noah. Now let's see what Japheth says about Lud. And it says, and Lud founded the Ludites, which are now called Lydians. So we know that the Ludites became known as the Lydians. So if we just see, yes, this is the picture of the Roman Empire, the Roman world, and we can see as they say, the kingdom of Lydia in western Turkey or western Anatolia. Now, let's see what the Book of Jubilees says for the land of Lud. And it says, and there came forth for Lud the fifth portion, the mountains of Ashur, and all appertaining to them until it reacheth the great sea, until it reacheth the east of Ashur, his brother. Now, I'm still not sure what it means by the mountains of Ashur. And the great sea, that could be speaking about the Mediterranean, because the Greeks called the Mediterranean the Great Sea. So that's one thing that we might be able to get from this, is that Lud is, the descendants of Lud might be living near the Mediterranean. But if we actually look at the sons of Japheth, it might help us, because here it says about Javan. Okay, so Javan is the son of Japheth, and we haven't covered the sons of Japheth yet, but you see what it says here? It says, and for Javan came forth the fourth portion of every island, and the islands which are towards the border of Lud. So we can actually learn about Lud by the sons of Japheth, because it's saying that the descendants of Javan are going to be living in a fourth portion of every island, but also the islands which are towards the border of Lud. So if we look at a map and see, so what they're saying is Javan, okay, this is now son of Japheth, is going to be having a fourth portion of all the islands. So that could be speaking of like Greece, Italy, and Spain. And in the ancient world, they may have known them as islands. You know, that might have been because of, if you think after the flood and the water was receding, you know, this actually may have been an island until the water receded and then revealed it was a peninsula. So I think these are the islands that Jubilees is speaking about. And it's saying that these islands of Javan approach the territory of Lud. So that makes me think that we should be looking here in this region of North Africa for the Ludites. Now let's see if we can find something to support that, because I saw something interesting in this. Now this is where there's a little bit of confusion, because there's a Ludim, but he's actually a descendant of Mizraim, and Mizraim is a descendant of Ham. Okay, so sometimes there's a confusion between the Ludim and the Ludites, but we mustn't confuse them. So this Ludim, he's a descendant of Mizraim, but we're looking at Lud, son of Shem. But there's something interesting that it says here. Now, let's read it from here. It says here, look, Pliny in his Natural History mentions the river Lud along the south of the Atlas Mountains near the river Foot. Okay, so this is just trying to speak about this region of Libya with this, that was actually a river of Put in Libya. But it's interesting how he also talks about this river of Lud south of the Atlas Mountains. So if we look at the Atlas Mountain Range, okay, we've got this Atlas Mountain Range in North Africa, and he's saying that there was a river going south which was called the river of Lud. So that kind of supports this where we were looking, where we said where we should be focusing on, because the Book of Jubilees is saying that these islands of Javan are going to approach the territory of Lud. Let's just check that again. So it says, and for Javan came forth the fourth portion of every island, and the islands which are towards the border of Lud. Okay, and it also said in this part here about the Great Sea, that Lud would be reaching towards the Great Sea. So you can kind of see how it's making sense that the territory of Lud is connected with the Mediterranean, but then it also says about these islands of Javan reaching the portion of Lud. And now we do have this detail from Pliny in his natural history, mentioning the river Lud along the south of the Atlas Mountains. So I wonder if this Lord or Lud is connected to the biblical Lud, son of Shem, because that would make that river somewhere in this region. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment with Lud, is that his territory was somewhere in this region of North Africa. But there's also this connection with the Etruscans. Okay, and Etruscans are a bit of a mysterious people as well, because they're living in this region, well, they were living in this region of Italy, but they're not sure about the origin and who the people were. There's a lot of debate about it, but there's a connection with the Etruscans and with the Lydians, and it's to do with this mythological figure in the Greek mythology called Lydian. So you can see the similarity with the name. So it says here, Lydian is a son of Attis, a grandson of Menes, okay, a brother of Tyrrhenius. So this is actually where we get the name of the sea. I don't know if we saw it here. Yeah, we saw it there, look. So this is known as the Tyrrhenian Sea to the west of Italy, and to the east, this is Sardinia, this is Corsica. So how did the sea get its name? Now, if you didn't know the Greek mythology, you wouldn't really know maybe why this is called the Tyrrhenian Sea. So they're saying it's called after Tyrrhenius, who's a brother of Lydian. So now the story of this legend, I'll give you a brief idea of the story, is that this kingdom, there was a famine in the land, and the king decided to split the kingdom and sent his sons to discover a new land. And this Lydian and this Tyrrhenius came to Italy, and that's how these Etruscans started in Italy. But I'm not sure, I don't think this Lydian is connected to Lud, son of Shem, if we look at our genealogy. I don't think this Lydian is this Lud that we're looking at. This is a different Lydian, and we haven't done a deep dive in Greek mythology yet. But if we do get a chance to do that, then we'll try and explain maybe who this Lydian is, and Menes and Attis. But there is this connection to Lydia, the Lydians and Etruscans. I just wanted to show you that. So it's still in a similar area. If you think about, we're looking in this region of North Africa, and now you've got this connection with the Lydians, with the Etruscans, but we're not sure about the origin of these Etruscans. They're connecting it to Lydia through this Lydian, but I don't think this Lydian is actually Lud, son of Shem, if that makes sense. Maybe that was a little bit, I don't know if that was confusing or not, but I think the more we go forwards in the series and we start looking at the sons of Japheth, then the Lydia will start making more sense, and the Ludites, because you can see how their territory is coming close to the sons of Japheth. So then when we study the sons of Japheth, it will help us with Lud. But at the moment, this is where what we're thinking is we're looking in this region for the Ludites, but there's also this connection in Italy. And let's just look to see a little bit about the history of the Lydians, of Lydia. Now the interesting, it starts here at 1200 BC, and it says Lydia arises as a Neo-Hittite kingdom. Okay, so there's some connection with the Lydia and the Hittites, and we haven't covered the Hittites yet, but we will. And so I think what this is saying is that once the Hittite empire started to fall, that's when the Lydian kingdom arose, and they may be now broken free from this Hittite rule, or maybe they were a vassal, we'll find out. But it only seems that the Lydia comes to its stand on its own feet and be its own separate kingdom once this Hittite, the Hittites fall and their power is waning. And then it says there was a Heraclid dynasty of ruling Lydia. Now the Heraclids, that means that they descendants of Hercules. So there's that Greek mythology again, and we're told that it's a mythology, so it's not real. But here we got on the record a Heraclid dynasty of ruling Lydia. So what do we make of that? So we'll have to look at the Greek mythology at some point. And now it's just saying how Lydia is expanding, and Sardis became its capital, and Sardis is mentioned in the book of Revelation. It's one of the churches. And just Lydia expanding. We haven't spoken about the Cimmerians yet. We'll do that when we get onto Japheth and the Phrygians also. So only when we get onto Japheth will we look at those ones. But the Lydians really come into the focus for history when we for the rise of the Medes and the Persians. And we've got this very famous prophecy in this legend. It says here, the oracles of Delphi and Thebes both tell King Croesus of Lydia that if he attacks the Medes, he will destroy a great empire. Seeing this as a good omen, he goes to war, loses, and the Lydian Empire is destroyed. So it's a very famous prophecy. He went to inquire. That's why we had this picture of this oracle. That's why we had it there, because of this connection with Lydia. So he wants to know. So he inquires of the oracle, and she tells him that if he attacks the Medes, a great empire will be destroyed. So he took that as a good omen, thinking that he was going to be the victor. Meanwhile, it actually turned out that there was an empire that was destroyed, but it was his own. And but I found this little this nice story nori, a blog post. You can see my link if you want to read that story about the oracle and Persia, Media, and the Lydians. It's from Herodotus, so it's quite a nice bit of history to look at, and it might come up in the future, so it might be nice to actually have a bit of an understanding of that. So if we look at the Lydians, we'll see that once the Persians and the Medes and the Lydians fall under the control of the Medes and the Persians, they're never really able to break free from being ruled over. And you'll see that Alexander the Great conquers Sardis, surrenders to Alexander the Great, and then Lydia is always ruled by another kingdom. So then they come Roman rule, and yeah, so that's quite interesting with Lydia, is they kind of suddenly appear on the historical scene, and they also go off the scene very quickly, and eventually we don't really have any more information about what happens to the Lydians, and we don't really know exactly what happens to them and what people they are, where did they go. So there's a bit of a mystery around this empire of Lydia and the Lydians. But I think, like I said before, that when we study the sons of Japheth, Lud and the Lydians will become a bit clearer, because if we look at, if it tells us here about the geography, it says the boundaries of historical Lydia, and it says it was bounded by Mysia, Caria, Phrygia. So if we start investigating these kingdoms, it will help us understand Lydia, and we might do that when we get into the sons of Japheth. So I hope you enjoyed this video on Lud. A little bit shorter than the other videos because we don't have a lot of information about Lud, son of Shem. And just remember that we're looking in this region, and there's also this connection with the Etruscans in Italy. But like we said, I don't think this Lydis is actually Lud, son of Shem. So that's going to be it for the sons of Shem, and now we're going into the section of the sons of Ham, and it's also going to be a very interesting series when you look at the sons of Ham. So until that series of looking at the descendants of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Until the next video, see you soon, and bye for now.